Welcome to another connection here on TKO8 Television. I'm Dennis King. My co-host Tabitha Odegaard couldn't be with us today. She's having to work a lot more lately at her real job, so she's having to miss a few of our shows, but she'll be back with us next week. We appreciate you joining us each week as we have different organizations and people come into our studio to talk about what's going on around the viewing area, what's important to you. Hopefully we bring you information that maybe you don't know. We're going to take a quick break, be back in a moment, and talk with two people about a big leadership conference coming up here in Harrisburg.
The scientists at Shell have created Shell V-Power Premium Gasoline, which actively cleans for better performance, helping make the roads more exciting to drive. Choose Shell V-Power Premium Gasoline, performance that excites. And now sign up free for the Fuel Rewards Network program and get a 25-cent sign-up bonus.
You know, we should always remember to have a working smoke detector where we sleep. Let's go, let's go. Okay, we're all safe, we're all safe. In an emergency, you need a meeting place outside the whole family can meet, so that you know everyone is safe.
Back on Connection here on TKO8 Television. Our first two guests in the studio today, Wendy Michelle with North Arkansas College. I'll just say that. You are an RN, I know. And a doctor of pharmacy over at North Arkansas Regional Medical Center, Josh Bright. One of the Brights from around the area, a lot of them. Actually, he knows my son, and we've talked a little bit about his family here as well. This is something I was contacted by. Actually, Sherry Hendricks contacted me and said we'd like to have a couple of people on the show and to talk a little bit about this Diabetes Leadership Summit coming up. Why don't you just, first of all, let's talk about the effort, the community effort, kind of the organization and who all's kind of involved in it, if you want to go into it.
Sure. We noticed some time ago that diabetes in our community is about almost twice the national rate for Boone County, and we know that that's a problem. It's above the state average, and we know that from diabetes come a lot of other problems like heart disease and kidney disease, lower limb amputations, and we decided that it was time to put a stop to that. So we formed a group from the college, from the hospital, NARMC, and then we also have brought Area Agency on Aging of Northwest Arkansas, the Chamber of Commerce,
Boone County Health.
Boone County Health.
Yes. The Chamber, you mentioned the Chamber.
Right.
So several organizations.
Several local organizations, as well as UAMS in Little Rock.
Okay.
And the state's health department.
Okay.
And our goal is to eradicate the burden of diabetes. And we have a 4-step plan for that. The first is to educate. The next is to detect. The next is to treat, and finally to maintain people who have diabetes so that they don't have these bad things that come later.
I got you.
Because it's usually not the diabetes itself that is harmful to someone in the long term. It's poorly controlled diabetes causing heart problems and kidney problems. So we want to prevent those long-term problems.
Why do you think diabetes is so prevalent, or we've got such a problem here in Boone County? And when I know it's a problem nationwide, is it the eating habits of people? Is it does diabetes run in a family? A little bit about that.
It's a little of both.
Okay.
And yes, we have become a nation of overeaters. As you know, that if you go to any restaurant, they will ask you to supersize your portions, anything like that. But actually, diabetes self-management, it's very essential for people with diabetes to, just to be able to learn and to educate themselves on how to take care of themselves on a daily basis.
Right.
And because it does prevent those chronic long-term problems of heart disease, kidney disease. And actually diabetes is the leading cause of blindness.
Wow.
And so it is very important to be able for individuals to have knowledge on how to manage their diabetes self-care.
What are some of the early symptoms of diabetes? If someone was wondering, I wonder if I've got diabetes, other than maybe going to a doctor and having a test run, would you detect it?
Increased thirst is one of them, where a person is they're drinking a lot. They just can't ever seem to get their thirst quenched. They are hungry a lot, because actually in diabetes the cells themselves are starving because they're not getting the energy. The food's not being metabolized like it's supposed to be, and the energy is not entering the cells. And then increased urination is another very prevalent sign. Fatigue, blurry vision, and then when the blood sugars get really high, you'll start noticing a fruity odor to the breath. And
really?
So, yes, and those when you do notice that, that's when you should seek some medical care and see your doctor.
Okay. This summit, and we'll give the dates and times and so forth a little bit later. But how does diabetes affect, if you're working? How does it affect the workforce out there?
Well, in two ways it affects the workforce. One, it decreases productivity. We know that somebody that doesn't feel good, or somebody that has to take a lot of medication, if they have the other problems associated with diabetes, their productivity decreases. And we know that depression is linked with diabetes, and depression is the #1 cause of lost work time. So diabetes, the sequelae from the diabetes can cause decreases in productivity. And the second is on the business side. We know that someone who has diabetes will cost about 2.3 times as much on the healthcare plan as someone without diabetes. So it is imperative to us to get people tested and know as soon as they have diabetes so it can be treated and maintained well, because that increase in cost, only about 20% of it comes from the diabetes itself. The other 80% of it comes from the problems with diabetes that's not treated well. So inpatient hospital visits, medications to treat the other things, unscheduled physician visits. So to the employer, our message is to design benefits with the future in mind. Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People said, begin with the end in mind. And so for employers, we want to tell them, design your benefits now to think about the future. So maybe spend a little bit more up front for prevention to reap a whole lot of reward later down the road in that missed work time and those hospital visits that cost so much money.
Can you actually prevent diabetes? I mean, how do I keep from getting diabetes?
Well, one of the things is, of course, in diabetes self-management education, we try to teach individuals about healthy choices and a increasingly healthy lifestyle. Diet, we do teach about diet and how that affects the body, and physical exercise, things like that. If you, as we get older, we tend to maybe not do that exercise so readily, and then maybe not eat so well either. The goal is maybe to try to not get on the medication to start with, but medication is also, is an alternative or a treatment form for diabetes. Kids, let's per se, with diabetes, and I did have a son who was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when he was 14. His management included a lot of, we did have to change our lifestyle, basically. We had to change the way I cooked, basically, how to cook more to meet his needs, and it also was a benefit to the whole family. And then increasing that physical activity and, just learning what we needed to learn in order to manage. He needed to manage his disease process, and then what we needed to do as a family. So it is a lifestyle change for many individuals to be able to manage their diabetes.
There's always kind of been an adage out there, if you eat too many sweets, you could get diabetes. Now I don't know that that's necessarily true, but can you kickstart diabetes by eating the wrong thing?
Well, in type 1 diabetes, that is actually where the body does not produce any insulin any longer.
Okay.
And so, we generally, people with type 1s have to take insulin shots in order to basically get that food that's broken down and get it into the cell to be used for energy. In type 2 diabetes, diet and exercise is a huge thing. And actually, people that do develop type 2 diabetes can manage their diabetes without medication if they manage it with education and exercise and diet.
And diet. They can keep it under control with type 2. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's get on into the summit. We've got about 4 minutes left here. The Diabetes Leadership Summit, and it's called Building a Healthy Community, is going to be Tuesday, November 25th, 3:30 until 5 p.m. at the Durand Center in the room B there. Can anyone participate in this?
Yes, anyone can participate, especially if you have a leadership role in the community or in a business. What we want to do is bring in community leaders and define diabetes to them, define what the problem is, why it's a problem, and what we're going to do about it. We have a pretty solid plan on what needs to happen, and what we want to do is educate the community leaders. That's part of our first phase of education, is educate, and educate the community leaders as part of it. Right now we have a patient-specific education that occurs once a month. So if we can get buy-in from our community leaders, we can start the next phase. We're going to have Benton County Human Resources representative to come and talk about the way that they are taking care of diabetes as an employer. We're going to have the Arkansas Department of Health come and talk about the prevalence of diabetes, and then I'll round out the clinic talking about how we as a community can take care of the epidemic of diabetes. So mine will be a call to action. It will talk about what we are doing and why we are doing it. We can't do it as an individual. We can't do it as a healthcare community. We can't do it as a government organization. We can't do it as a public health. We have to all do it together. And I believe that one of the reasons diabetes has gotten out of control is because we have silos of groups trying to do the same thing, but all apart from each other. But if we were to come together like we have shown we can do in Boone County by bringing in 3 or 4 different groups into one program, and if we can cast a wider net, I believe that we can truly eradicate the burden with some time and effort.
Pool your resources together.
Pool the resources and work together.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, if I want to sign up for this as a business, how do I sign up? How do I get
Well, you can contact the NAEFI, Continuing Education. It's in downtown Harrison, and it is at 391-3529, or the Community Health Resource Center. Also to sign up, and Josh, do you have that number?
That's 743-CHRC.
Okay,
Yes.
right.
For Community Health Resource Center.
Okay. So either one of those.
Either one of those. You can.
It's free to attend, but registration's required so we can have enough resources.
Okay. Well, that sounds like something that certainly employers out there or management people that are involved in the community need to attend this if they can.
Absolutely.
And see if they can't pull. Obviously, diabetes is a very
Big problem.
Big problem,
Yes.
and we need to get a handle on it while we can here. So,
Yes.
well, we appreciate both of you coming in today and talking about this, and good luck with your Diabetes Leadership Summit coming up. Just to remind you one more time, that's Tuesday, November the 25th. It'll be from 3:30 until 5 p.m. down at the Durand Center. And give them a call, 391-3529, or you could go by there and sign up too. It's very important that we get a handle on diabetes, and hopefully these two individuals and others in the community will jumpstart this thing and we'll get it going. Thank you both so much. We do
Thank
appreciate
you.
you coming
Thank
in,
you.
and good luck with the summit, and good luck with your fight against diabetes.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Stay with us. We'll be back in a moment. We'll talk with some people about a brand new program here. Boone County is kind of a leader in this program. You'll be excited about it on Connection.
Start spinning, twisting, and pumping into a healthy lifestyle 24 hours a day at the Fitness Club. With all of the best equipment and personal trainers, you're ensured a workout that's fun, effective, and motivating. At the Fitness Club, you can enhance your glow, relax your mind, and refresh your body all in one convenient location. So what are you waiting for? Start spinning, twisting, and pumping your way into a new you today. Enhance your lifestyle and reach your goals at the Fitness Club, Highway 6265 North in Harrison.
Many things have changed over the years, and so has auto body repair. Even though Ozark Auto Body has been in business for over 30 years, they continue to change with the times. They believe protecting the environment is important and have done so by using environmentally friendly waterborne paint from PPG. This aligns with the technology used by original manufacturers and gives you a lifetime limited warranty. Quality PPG waterborne paint, ASC certified personnel, plus 24-hour towing service. Ozark Auto Body in Harrison, always taking pride in excellence. Back on Connection here on TKO8 Television. I'm Dennis King. Tabitha couldn't be with us today, but we've got two individuals to talk about a program that's something you may have to use one of these days. You never know. Glad to have Linda DeWald and Herb Blair with us. Of course, Herb's over 911 and Linda's our chief of the fire department here, and both involved in emergency situations a lot. When I got the press release about the call it Smart 911, I was interested to see what this is all about. So why don't you kind of kick it off, Herb, just a little bit about
whenever you're trying to dispatch, you want to, and this is our mission statement, I think this the starting point is to dispatch the appropriate response, which is Smart 911 with the least possible delay, inspire the trust and confidence, that's handle privacy of the public and responding agencies, and then to educate people on this. But what it does is it allows us to increase the profile. People can put as much or as little information into the 911, Smart 911. It's available as a website that you can enter in this information, and then when you dial 911, that information is on the screen so that we can see it at the same time the call is coming in. And a lot of the information that we have there pertains to, obviously, what kind of medical problems you might have or medication, and it may be if there's people with disabilities or whatever around the home, and there's a lot of different issues that you want to cover as far as descriptions around the house. But also when you're out traveling all across the state, then there may be situations where people need to know conditions that you may have, and obviously not overreact or over-medicate when you have an accident or problem. So that's kind of the nature of it, is to get it out there and also to be aware that it's not just something for your home, because many things now are done by cell phone. So that's really the way it starts anyway.
Linda, how would this affect like your rescue unit, for instance?
Rescue would be a great example. We have Highway 65 coming through here. You know, you might be coming from Little Rock, have an accident, and via the cell phone, 911 would have that information already for the medics, allergies maybe they have, medications that they're on, and so already, you know, depending on how severe the injury is to the patient, so time saves lives, seconds can save lives, and so that's not information they're not having to try to. And I also have emergency numbers you can put on there, emergency contact numbers that you can have listed. And so if that person were to be in a motor vehicle accident here in Harrison, with that information we can contact their family or whoever it is that they have. So it's on that particular, it would work great. House structure fires, we'd be able to know how many people lived in the home. They even will list pets in the home, and like Herb was saying, if there's somebody disabled in the house. A
profile, actually, of that.
Yes, and so we got a little bit of heads up. You know, we get sometimes structure fires. Neighbors are a great source of information as well, but this would be something that you could log in. You can put in as much as you want or as little as you want.
Well, a lot of times you're in a panic situation, or obviously the
when you're dialing
situation is so.
Sure.
So if you have that information that pops up there, then we're able to react much quicker, and that's really quite critical as far as that's what our mission statement is, and that's what's important in taking care of an issue or problem. It's probably as much or more important than how we react time-wise, because if you get there and you don't have the appropriate way of taking care of the situation, then it's a bigger issue than it was just because we're there. So that's why we want to get the information out, and we want to get that information obviously captured, but because people are maybe inclined to not give a lot of information, but if they give anything, it's helpful. And some of that information is simple as the pharmacy list, which is out on the internet anyway, that people can determine what you might be allergic to and what they can do for you. So it's great, particularly for elderly people and kids that stay home with single parents, and obviously other situations that we've talked about, to be aware of these things. And the awareness, as we say, saves lives, saves seconds. So quite important there.
I know this is available in some cities, and sort of, can you, with the GPS technology, can you locate that cell phone? Do we have that capability?
Yeah, we can locate the cell
So
phone.
if, for instance, if I was in a car wreck and I can't really talk, but I can dial 911, but I can't say anything.
Yeah,
Can you find me?
Yeah, we can find you right off, and there are ways to text even when you dial into 911 that they would respond to you, and of course that information would be there. And if somebody else even dialed in on your phone there'll be a response to that as well. So there's many different ways that we can work with that. But 911 is a program, it's national, so you could be traveling all across the country, and there would be areas that would that information would come up. If you're in Arkansas, it's available. It's a state supported program that we're not paying for, but we do supply equipment to run it off of. But it's available pretty much all through the state, and as I say, we were one of the first adopters of that as far as the program.
Does all emergency calls is every call go through 911? I mean, somebody may not call 911, right?
No, we have an emergency hotline at the police department, 741-3411, that it's station 1. That's our fire emergency. Then city police have a emergency line, and then of course a lot comes more and more.
Most people
we
think of 911.
Yeah, we're talking to Herb when they have an accident in town. I mean, everybody's got a cell anymore, and they'll pick up and dial 9. Even though it's in city, they'll dial 911. Is the first thing.
Okay.
Yeah, we might get several calls. That's the difference in saying calling from a landline, is that in a cell phone you might have 8 or 10 calls very, very quickly that you have to handle, and they're all about the same accident.
Gotcha.
If it's on 65 or across from First Federal or somewhere out in those high visibility areas, you'll see
somebody will call.
Numerous
people may call the same.
Mm-hmm.
Just not
and
knowing.
they might call several different numbers as well. I think I heard that happen while I was there. Your dispatch was calling county sheriff's department to see if they'd received a 911 call somewhere.
Sure.
Really?
And so it had pinged it, and then it GPS'd it and where it had come from. So
the GPS thing is relatively available in any emergency. So I mean, you can find somebody if they were
I was
off in a ravine over on Highway 7 south.
if they could get a signal out.
if there's a signal there, you can track it. Is that what you're saying?
Right, and then I always kind of joke about that Starbucks can find you to sell you coffee because they know where you are. We ought to be able to find.
Should be able to.
Should be able to in an emergency. So
you're as good as Starbucks.
Yeah, we're going to be that good.
What else do we need to talk about on 911? Smart 911.
They have a Facebook page.
Okay.
Smart 911 is a Facebook page. People want to log on to that. Also, if they want to, www.smart911.com.
Okay.
They can log on, and that's where it's got your
so that's where people.
Yeah, the Facebook, we actually get a lot of information from Smart 911. They talk about a lot of different things and safety items, and
it's information.
It's very, very good information that we share, and it's on our obviously our Facebook, and we get a lot of particularly when we have a local situation, I'll see a lot of views on that. So people are very interested in that, and we usually capture information from the paper or somewhere else so that they get an update as soon as we can get it out there. So we're trying to be, provide more communication and more information on even local, but also on national things that might be coming on, where it's an Ebola or something else that's out there. We want to be totally aware of those things, or an accident or certain conditions. So it's quite informational, and that's what we're trying to do, is get that out as quickly as possible. So we're getting a good response on that, and really you could go there and we'll set up a link there where you can enter in the information. Now we realize that some people are not computer literate, and so there may be cases where if they want to come down to our office, or we could probably work with the Red Cross or somebody to go out to all these houses and enter information in, and we just don't want to be overwhelmed with the technology because it's not that difficult, but still, it's sometimes people are just not familiar with those things. So
and you're right, and even particularly elderly people may not. Some of them have gone into the computer age, and others have not. How could you have a form or something? Where could you? You almost need a location, or when we have Harvest Homecoming or whatever, you have a sheet of paper where they could do the same thing and turn it in, the same information that they're going to input on the. Would that be allowable, or could you?
Yeah,
do that?
that's fine. Obviously, the privacy of information, if they want to keep it to themselves and do it themselves, that's one of the things that you think of first.
Right.
And maybe a family member or somebody else helps on that. But as I say, we're willing to go out, and if somebody needs some help, we'll go out to individuals. We've been out to a lot of the service clubs and different ones, telling them what's available and how to get on the system. And we're available for phone calls, just anything that people have questions about, because a lot of it's informational again, and that's why we're available at any time to handle that. So.
Are you getting quite a few people getting into the system? And
well, we don't see a lot of people using it right now, but we're starting to build up some. We know that in other parts of the state where there's a lot of activity, mobile, situations like in Little Rock and North Little Rock, we see quite a bit of it there. But we can't access that file, so we don't really know unless somebody calls in. And that's one of the issues that we're having, is to get out and educate people and take care of some of the concerns that might be there for privacy. The fact that they don't have to enter everything and there's nothing required, it's just what they want to put out there, and have a comfort level with that information being out there. But we're not taking financial information. It's all health related. It's all related to information that's probably on Google Map or other information that's out there on our pictometry or as I say, on your pharmacy's website. Or these are not things that are stuck out there that are information that's not available somewhere else. And so we're trying to work through some of those issues and make sure that there's a lot of information they don't want to put out there. That's fine. We really don't expect them to put it out there. So,
but any information would be good, just to get them in the database.
They can have multiple phone numbers related to that one your cell, everybody in the family cell for that same address, and duplicate that information.
Yeah. And you can imagine people being at home and wanting some person being notified. Where the kids are there, and the parents or someone being notified, or if it's elderly people having notification to their kids, or at least people that's responsible. So that's the kind of thing we're working on. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like certainly a upgrade of 911.
Oh, it is. It's just getting it out there.
It's just getting that information out there. Appreciate you both coming in. We've run out of time today. Again, to get on the website, what is it again?
Well, it's www.smart911.com.
Okay.
Or you can Google Smart 911.
Exactly, Google and smart.com is Smart 911.
Yeah, we'll put it out on the Facebook one too, so they can just hit the link on that. So.
We appreciate you both coming in and giving us that information. It was new to me because I didn't really know about it either.
Well, you'll have to join.
I'm going to go on there and take care of that. I think I can use a computer good enough to get on there. Yeah. Linda DeWall, Herb Blair, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming in and talking about Smart 911. If you haven't heard about it, it's certainly a program that might save your life one of these days. And put that information in there, even if it's just the basic information. Go ahead and log on and get that information in there. It'll be good if an emergency was to happen. Thanks for joining us on Connection this week. We hope you got some information out to you that maybe you didn't know about, and we'll see you again next time.